Everybody, welcome back with the Plapper. Platypus is the name, and welcome to another CZN video. On the right, you can see the tier list I made a few days ago. Now, just to remember, there are 9 characters on this list that I did not place myself, and I placed them based on Game 8. Also, you may know that this is my it's hard to see it here. This is maybe my lowest liked video of all time. Maybe not quite my lowest, but I just looked up my tier list because those are usually lower, but a very, very, very low like ratio. But I'm going to be honest, I stand by nearly every single character that I put on this list, but that's why we're here. And on the left, you can see the Prydwen tier list. Now, it is very important to note a couple things. There are key differences, but basically, I'm going to use their tier list to update my tier list. Because I tend to trust Prydwen more than I trust Game 8. Again, it's all relative. I've had a lot of games that I've played where I felt like Prydwen was pretty good, and I don't have that experience with Game 8. So I want to use this as a secondary source to kind of update my tier list with what I think, and I have a little bit more experience, but basically where we are different, okay? But also, it is noting theirs is broken up into actual categories, and there's only 3 tiers, which I think this is clearly a more professional tier list, theirs is, than mine, right? Mine is a subjective, me just going with my feeling and my vibes as an individual. This feels more like a team actually did it, so I do highly value the work that they're doing over there. I also just think tier lists are fun to do. But theirs is specifically Dimensional Twilight. It's not really trying to combine 2 different things like Chaos Manifestation and Dimensional Twilight, which is kind of what I was feeling when I was doing it. But just so you know, Dimensional Twilight, when you go into Simulation, you go into the basin of hyperspace up here, you've got the Dimensional Dawn and then the Dimensional Twilight. So this is a game mode that you can see, you know, you get the stuff for, right? And it goes up right now to level 75. I mean, actually, for apparently being totally an idiot and no one and everyone's saying I don't understand the game at all, like I've got 30 out of 30 and 27 out of 30, so I'm doing pretty good. But still, like, I understand people have different opinions. We're gonna quickly go through and we're gonna make adjustments on things that I think I was probably just wrong on, or maybe a little misinformed or a little too trusting of Game 8 and didn't check myself. So also a little bit of an update just in general. So I stick by Kelpie being S tier 100%. I mean, they have her as a tier 0. I absolutely agree with that. I got her and I've used her every day since I've gotten her. She is without a doubt, in my opinion, the best general all-purpose use character in the game. She doesn't do literally the most damage. Maybe she does literally the most shields, but she's got so much AoE damage, and she also has the ability to do okay damage in general, and she can protect your team. She's just kind of phenomenal at everything she does. She is absolutely S tier. Beryl is 100% S tier, and in fact, in Dimensional Twilight specifically, I think she's better than every other character in the entire game in Dimensional Twilight. I just did a video on her yesterday showing me getting through the Dimensional Twilight stuff with her. Maybe there are better builds out there, okay? I have not seen them yet. Again, this is a level 50 Beryl, and she was running a level 30 unit and like another level, like a level 50 Owen. It was like a pretty mean team, and we were destroying Dimensional Twilight. The only reason I didn't get 3 stars on it is because my second team wasn't strong enough, not the first team. But, so I think Beryl's easy S tier. Mika, I think, is easy S tier. Mei Lin, I have not played yet. I have built her up to 50, and I am waiting to actually take her into Chaos on stream to really get a feel for her. But they have her at tier 1. I am probably going to move her up to the top of A tier, just because I haven't played her yet. I will decide after the fact, but it's hard for me to say. My gut reaction is closer to S, but again, I'm gonna go with Prydwen on this one. So as far as a lot of these 2 here, I'm actually going to move both of these up to S. So I think Hugo is good, and the only reason I haven't been using him more is because he's a ranger. So is Beryl, and Beryl has been like my go-to, like, super powerful character that I use all the time. But I think Hugo is actually kind of absurd if you have a team built around him, which is, of course, like, duh. But I think his damage is way higher than I was giving it credit for. I haven't really invested in him that much after level 30, so I think I was underselling him as an A tier. Prydwen's putting him as literally the only tier 0 dedicated DPS, which does hold some weight for me. I do think that it's very likely that I was undervaluing him. I am going to keep building him and actually finish it. Plus, just as a quick side note, specifically on Hugo, right? Like, one of the big downsides of Hugo is pretty easily mitigated If you come over here, like one of his issues is that when you upgrade this card, it almost always loses the Outbreak of War. You might be able to keep it, like usually you'll get an option to keep it, but then you don't want these, but you actually do get a partner, which is currently on my barrel, to for these guys. They get to, just for at the start of combat, for 2 ego points, which you start with in Dimensional Twilight, you get to draw an enhancement card. So as long as this guy is your enhanced guy, you actually do have a decent chance of fishing that out on turn 1 in general. So like, it's still not guaranteed, and it is a bummer it loses that. But I actually think that is not as big of a downside as I thought it was before. And Veronica is kind of in the same boat. Again, they both take the same materials to rank up as Barrel, and I've just been using Barrel a lot. And one issue that Veronica has had with me is that I'm using this currency, basically this item, I'm using a lot of my resources to build Barrel, and I'm using a lot of my resources to like have Barrel fish out her specific upgrades. And Veronica, I think, has a lot of like subpar, not very good cards. Like I think it'll get better, but right now the reload stuff, like you get 1 reload and then 1 max reload, and then it's like whenever an enemy uses or an ally uses a skill, you get a reload. That stuff is all kind of like mid to me, but she absolutely does some of the most damage for 0 AP after the first turn in the game. Like, just being able to generate those ballistas is very good. So, and her draw is very powerful. If you get the right kind of draw on her, she could draw other people's cards. She doesn't need very many cards of her own deck, which is kind of like a theme between her and Hugo. Hugo, once he has that skill up, you never really need to play another one of his cards. Like, obviously he has good cards, you're never going to get to 0. But if you had like no cards in your deck of Hugo's, just that 1 card, he would do like 90% of his damage plus. And I feel like Veronica is kind of in that similar boat where she doesn't need that much effort in order to, and that much AP, she doesn't need that much anything to kind of function at almost full capacity. The rest of these I'm going to keep where they are. Again, it is like they only have 3 tiers. Mine currently has 5 tiers. But I mean, these guys are all kind of in, this is like the upper tier 1, lower tier 1 probably, and then this is like tier 2, lower tier 2, I guess. I'm going to keep them all where they are. The changes I want to make are actually in B tier. I think I want to move Renoa and Haru up. I've been using Haru a bit more, and I actually value her a bit. And so like exactly what happened is what I said would happen. I would have put Magna S, but if I saw Kelpie was S, and I was like, well, maybe I shouldn't put her S if she's actually S, because maybe she's just a better version. And that's 100%. I haven't used Magna 1 time since pulling Kelpie, which is fine. Magna's still good, don't get me wrong. Magna is good, but she is definitely, I feel like, outclassed in almost every imaginable way there. So I think she's might even go down to a B tier. And this was my most used character, and she kind of, this depends. I think if you don't have Kelpie or whatever, she probably is an S tier for your account, but I think this character is so much better just in general. I almost never want Magna outside of specifically running it with another character that's like a D tier, and I'm sure that when you run both of these together, they become quite a bit stronger. But I'm keeping Owen where he's at. I'm keeping Nia where he's at. I genuinely think they're good. I can't speak for this character. They have her in tier 1, so I will move her up to tier B. Teresa is the one that I really want to address. This is one I'm moving up to the A tier. I'm not comfortable putting her S tier yet. I still feel like comparatively to what I'm getting out of my DPS up here, like it might be biased because I've high rolled on barrels so high for the Dimensional Twilight, but I will move her up to the A tier for sure. And I'm going to be playing her more this upcoming week. Now that because I'm trying to build all the characters, right? So some characters are getting stuck at 40, some are getting to 50 without their partners. So I'm not able to develop all the characters I want, but I am hoping to get her a little bit of gear, get her ranked up, and build her differently. I was going so deep on the damage over time, the dots, and the dots did not feel strong. And I was like, okay, so her damage falls off. But I think if you just build a bunch of dots and then you use like her execution style skills, her DPS is probably insane. And kind of the same with Haru. I just have been using her more, and if you get a little bit of AP help, she gets to make her pull, whatever, her anchor shot. You can get the one that makes it hit twice. Then you can increase his attack by 100% with your anchor lift. Then you could spend another energy to get it there. So for like 4 energy, she could hit for like thousands and thousands of damage in 1 turn. It is a little bit combo heavy, and it can be hard to consistently make that happen all the time, but when her cards line up, she is definitely, I would say, A tier. I am not moving Luke up. I just got him to level 50 yesterday. Same with Mei Lin. These are both characters I'm going to be trying. And this is basically what I'm going to keep here. I know they have Rin higher. I still think Rin sucks, and this might be total cope because I just hate the way she plays, and her having such a greedy play style might annoy me more than it does other people. Maybe if I run her with someone like Veronica, where she doesn't need to use skills, or someone like Hugo who uses one thing once and then he just doesn't ever have to use attacks. Like, maybe that's kind of where it really starts paying off. And I'm willing to try her again, but for right now, I'm going to keep her at the top of C tier. And again, maybe that's cope, but I'm happy there. And outside of that, I actually think these are all pretty accurate. She does still seem like easily the worst character in the game that I've played so far, like not even close. But again, I think even her, Amir, and the right team, probably with Magna. Honestly, I bet Owen would kick ass too. Owen's good at generating shields while dealing damage. Maybe just run like a Mika, because why wouldn't you run Mika pretty much, right? But I bet there is some real synergy here that kind of propels her up. But as a standalone, and maybe in the Dimension of Twilight specifically, I mean, I'm not really seeing it. So this is gonna be my current updated tier list. I think the main things I wanted to address are gonna be Haru and Tressa. And that's mostly going to be based off of Tressa being up here. I think the site has done more research than I have. They have more people that have probably have lots of people coming together and discussing this stuff, or at least several people, instead of just me talking to myself. Hugo and Veronica did move up as well. I think Veronica, yeah, putting her as a support DPS is way more accurate. I was kind of trying to use her as a dedicated DPS or a dedicated support. And she wasn't as good at support as Mika, and she wasn't as good at DPS as Beryl. So being in the middle, I kind of treated her as a lower character, but being able to do both well in one character is actually pretty good. So this is where we're going to leave it for now. So thank you, Prydwen, for releasing this tier list. The ones, you know what? I want to take a look at the ones really quick and see what I disagree with most. So the only ones I really disagree with is, I would say, Beryl being down here. One, putting Beryl in a support DPS as opposed to a dedicated DPS. But I think they're probably using Beryl, they're probably taking into account all of her potential builds in a sense, where it's like, what does she actually do with an average deck? Not the super specific overpowered build that I'm doing. But if you do that build, which I built that deck 2 more times in a row, which is not guaranteed, but you could take things that help you get that stuff. I think it's not that hard to farm that out, and it becomes super powerful. But yeah, so I think Beryl should be S tier, probably in tier 0 in the DPS category, if built right, for the Dimensional Twilight, and honestly probably more of a tier 1 for Chaos Manifestation in general. And then I don't think Owen is a T2 just in general. Owen has been really good. He has a lot of ways to generate vulnerable on enemies, which really helps. Like, he could generate vulnerable, which really buffs your other character's damage. He could generate shields, so he could also help with, generating shields to prevent damage. He also does pretty reasonable damage with his ability to hit multiple times. He also does pretty good area of effect attacks. Not that many area of effect attacks in the game. Owen has like a pretty good one with pretty good upgrades. And his wind charge, every time he draws it, he gets to do an AoE. He can get an upgrade where he uses in charge, it does another AoE, so you can do 200% damage just from drawing a wind charge and then using it. Like, that's all pretty good. And you can upgrade his wind charge, so when you use it, it actually gives a different character an additional hit on one of their attacks at minus 25% damage, but still doubling a hit attack on a character that normally only hits 1 time. Like, if you're suddenly using it on Haru or something, you're getting double the hits. That's pretty good. I think he just is so flexible and does so many things well that he is just not a tier 2 character. I'm not saying tier 0, but I think a tier 1, borderline dedicated support, but probably a support DPS, is probably a little bit better. But yeah, other than that, I don't really disagree fundamentally with anything here. I haven't played Renoa. I haven't played Chiron. I don't have them. I will have Luke and Mei Lin over the next week. And, or Leah, whenever I pull her, and I would like her because she seems awesome, but that's just, time will tell. Anyway, guys, that is all for this one. Yeah, anyway, much love for platypuses per platypus. I'll see you on the flip-flops. Bye!